So, a massive housing bill just made it through the Senate, and its whole promise is to make homes more affordable. But there's this one single rule buried inside that has sparked an absolutely huge fight, pitting lawmakers against the entire housing industry. Today we're going to break down exactly what this could mean for everyone.
And this is really the heart of the matter, isn't it? Lawmakers are pointing the finger squarely at Wall Street, and they've actually written a bill to try and stop them. But is this the silver bullet we've all been hoping for? Or could it, maybe, actually backfire?
Now, this isn't just any old bill. We're talking about a major piece of legislation that passed the Senate with overwhelming bipartisan support. The vote was 89-10. And the goal? To finally get a handle on this housing affordability crisis.
But even with all that support, one little rule is causing a gigantic fight. It's a rule aimed directly at big corporate investors, and it has created this huge standoff between Washington and the real estate world.
Okay, so what exactly is this rule that everyone is so fired up about? Before we can get into the fight, we really need to break down how this thing is supposed to work.
All right, so here's the deal. Step 1, it targets the big players. Any investor who owns 350 or more single-family homes. If you fall into that bucket, Step 2 kicks in. You are literally blocked from buying any more houses. Simple as that. But there is an exception. You can still build brand new homes to rent out. The catch? And this is the part that's causing all the drama. You are legally required to sell those new rental homes within just 7 years.
So you might be asking yourself, what's the logic behind a rule like this? Let's start with the lawmakers who are pushing for it and why they think this is so incredibly important.
Okay, so spearheading this provision, you've got prominent Democrats like Senator Raphael Warnock and Elizabeth Warren. And for them, their entire argument really boils down to one simple idea: protecting the individual homebuyer.
And this quote from Senator Warnock, it really just says it all. In their view, the market is completely skewed. You've got regular families trying to buy a house, and they're being consistently outbid by these massive corporations with seemingly endless cash. It's making it almost impossible for first-time buyers to even get in the game.
So for them, the solution is simple. You rein in these big investors, and you level the playing field. You give more families a fair shot at buying a home, which they see as the absolute core of the American dream.
Okay, let's flip the coin. Now we need to look at how the housing industry and the researchers are pushing back, because their take on the problem and the solution is completely different. And when I say pushback, I mean it. We're not talking about a small group here. It's a coalition of nearly 80 different industry groups and research centers, and they're all sounding the alarm, warning that this rule could have some really serious unintended consequences.
And their whole counterargument really comes down to this one single, pretty surprising number. According to their research, large institutional investors own less than 1% of all single-family homes in the entire country. So based on that, they argue that these big companies just aren't a big enough piece of the pie to be the main reason prices are so high.
Their big fear is that this law is just targeting the wrong problem. The issue isn't investors buying up homes, they say. It's a fundamental, massive shortage of housing. So by punishing the people who build homes, they argue the bill will actually backfire, leading to fewer homes on the market and hurting the very people it claims to help.
Let's get specific about their worries. They say that 7-year sale rule we talked about, it would basically kill the build-to-rent industry. Think about it from a business perspective. How do you get a 30-year loan for a project that the government is forcing you to sell in just 7 years? It doesn't really work. And they stress that millions of families who can't afford to buy need these rental homes. This rule, they say, would just choke off the supply of new ones, hurting renters the most.
So what we're left with here is just two fundamentally different diagnoses of the housing crisis. And because of that, we have two completely opposite prescriptions for how to fix it.
And this, right here, is the core of the standoff. One side sees a competition problem. They say corporations are outbidding families. Their solution? Restrict the corporations to protect individual buyers. But the other side sees a supply problem. They say there just aren't enough homes to go around. Their solution? Build, 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 more of everything, and make increasing the total housing supply the #1 priority.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question. As this bill moves forward, someone has to decide which path we're going to take. Is the answer to regulate who is allowed to buy a home, or is it to unleash construction and try to build our way out of this crisis? The future of the housing market? Well, it could very well depend on that choice.